The pop star was about to launch a comeback tour next month, reportedly to pay him $50 million. And by all accounts, he needed the cash, with debts estimated between $300 to $500 million. Let's bring in attorney Tamara Holder. Also joining us is Christopher John Farley with the Wall Street Journal. Christopher, let's actually start with you. How complicated will this fight over Michael Jackson's estate be?
Well, it'll be very complicated. There's a lot of money involved. We have a story in today's paper by Ethan Smith, sort of unwinding some of Michael Jackson's finances. He's a guy who was looking at about $500 million in debt. He was bringing in about $19 million from his stake in the Sony ATV music publishing, and also his music sales brought in about $12 million a year. And so he had money coming in, but he had huge debts that he had to settle, and that's one reason he was doing all these concerts in the O2 Arena in London, to bring in more revenue.
Tamara, as far as a legal perspective, what's the most important thing for somebody who has a claim on Jackson's estate? I mean, you've got these people, for example, who invested heavily in Jackson's tour, but then you have the banks that were owed hundreds of millions of dollars. Who gets precedent in a legal fight?
Well, this is going to be a fight that's bigger than anything we've ever seen. I mean, it's going to make Rick James' fight look like, you know, peanuts. And so when you say who is it, I mean, there are so many people that are involved in this. He had so many debtors. He had banks. He had partnerships. He had all of these different relationships with these people. So he's looking at a lot of money, and a lot of people are going to put their hands into as much of this kitty as they can possibly get.
Tamara, you've been quoted as saying that this is going to perhaps be an epic custody battle. We've got a report that the children are now with Michael Jackson's mother, Catherine, but you have an attorney who represented Debbie Rowe, the mother of the two oldest children, saying that she's got presumption of parental rights in her favor, according to California law. What kind of custody battle could we be looking at between the Jacksons and Debbie Rowe, at least for those two children?
Well, I mean, you're right. This is the money follows the kids. And so when we look at this, we also look at the best interests of the child. And I just hope that the judges that are involved in this really take away the money issue and determine where these kids should go and what is most important for them. I mean, there are two different parents here. So we need to, do we keep the kids together, or do we separate
but
the
in
kids?
A case,
who gets them is a very big question.
Christopher, but what if in a case of Michael Jackson, because there have been some reports that he had a will, we don't know any specifics about these children, but would something like that be clear-cut if Michael Jackson, who was apparently the only parent, the other parent had given up all of her rights, at least, in the adoption of that small child blanket, would he be able to legally say, this is who I want these children to go to in the event of my death?
Well, a lot of this is just speculation, but I think the one thing that's clear is there is a lot at stake. I mean, this is a guy whose estate is going to be very valuable, especially because of his likeness. The publishing rights he leaves behind are things that can generate a lot of revenue in the future, like what we saw happened with Elvis Presley, what's currently happening with Bob Marley's estate. The estate of the image and likeness and the music publishing of fallen stars like Bob Marley, like Kurt Cobain, can generate a lot of interest, a lot of money in the years ahead. And Michael Jackson's music certainly continues to be popular, continues to be embraced by a new generation. We saw David Cook on American Idol last season turn Billie Jean into a rock and roll kind of hit. And things like that can be done with other tracks by Michael Jackson, other parts of his empire. So there's a lot of money to be made from Michael Jackson's name still, and that probably is going to be a focus in the days ahead.
All right, thank you, Tamara Holder and Christopher John Farley. Great talking with you both. Thank you very much.
Thank you.